Good morning. Good morning, Rev here. It is Wednesday. It is the 31st of August. It is the last day of August. Tomorrow we start a brand new month, a brand new quarter, and we'll be through 2022. I hope you're safe and well and blessed this morning. I'm going to read to you just one verse this morning, and then I'm going to share with you some thoughts from my friend Joe Miller, who has a book called Dog Walk Talk. I would encourage you to get on Amazon or someplace and find it and read it. This comes from from James chapter 2, verse 17. And James says it this way: in the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Joe entitles this one Leftovers. Two men met and started to talk one day. One man introduced himself as Bob. The other never formally introduced himself. He was quiet, seemed interested, and was amazingly comfortable to be with. Bob, quite the extrovert, and one who always enjoyed meeting new people, had no problem feeling safe in talking. Bob, who had always carried his lunch, explained that at lunchtime he had leftovers and that he always enjoyed them. Now, at my house, I'm really kind of the only one that likes the leftovers, but I do enjoy them. Bob here, he talked about how leftovers always seem to taste better the next day, and that he was happy that his wife always made certain that there was some that he could warm up for his lunch on cold days at work. Bob noticed that the quiet one, well, he didn't have any lunch. He just kind of seemed to be hanging out. And eventually, the conversation shifted, and the quiet one asked Bob if he went to church. And if he did, could he share a little bit about it? Well, Bob shared that he and his family, they did go to church, though not as regularly as probably they should, which is the case for many. He explained that he and the family like to take care of matters such as yard work and shopping and car care and all that kind of stuff on Saturdays, and what's left only Sunday to do fun stuff. Think about that one for a minute. Bob said that he and his wife like to go play golf together. So in good weather, they'd pack in as much of that as they could on Sundays, the only convenient day to do so. And Bob added that Sundays were always good days to do something that his wife enjoyed, like garage sales. And almost as an afterthought, he said that Sundays were also busy days for the kids, traveling on their traveling team activities, which also limited their time for church. So the quiet one asks Bob then if he supported his church in any way. Well, Bob got a little upset with that question. And he kind of defensively says, well, of course I do. We're Christians. We're supposed to do that. And the quiet one then asked Bob what he did for a living. Now, Bob really enjoyed talking about himself, and so he was not hesitant at all to answer that question. And he told of how he had worked his way up to executive level in his company and had finally reached the point in life where his financial security was not nearly the worry that it had been in earlier years. And he went on to brag about his wife and being a real wizard and with the household finances, and how because of that they had enough in savings for his wife to live several years in in the same comfort that they were living, should anything happen to Bob. And he took joy in the fact that they could afford good cars, nice cars, had money in the bank. They had money for the kids' education and could go out and eat whenever they wanted to. Then the quiet one asked Bob about how he felt about the poor and the impoverished in their area. Bob lit up just obvious pride. He says, you know, Jenny and I have had a real soft spot for those people. And maybe 2 or 3 times a year we go out to the shelters and we serve meals. We always take our old clothes to Goodwill. We make it a point to donate occasionally to some of the drives for the poor and the homeless. It's our duty as Christians, you know. And the quiet one pondered for just a moment about what he had heard. And then he asked a question that caught Bob by surprise. He says, you seem to like to share a lot that you're a Christian. Do you get many opportunities to share your faith with others? Bob thought about that for a minute. And he said, well, actually, I don't do that. That's the minister's job. Boy, have I heard that before. Besides, I don't know how. I don't know enough. I don't know how to, and I don't know enough to talk to anybody about that Jesus stuff. I mean, it's good to know and to do all that, but yeah, that's just for other people. And both men just sat there quietly for a minute. Bob, to break the silence, turned to the quiet one and asked, you know, I got plenty of leftovers here. I'd be glad to share them with you because I noticed that you're not eating anything. Would you like to have some? And the quiet one looked at him sadly. And he said, no, I don't like leftovers. In fact, I hate them. And Bob was baffled by that answer. And then it dawned on him that he had never asked the quiet one his name. By the way, he said, what's your name? And the quiet one answered, God. And all you give me is leftovers. Something to think about this morning. I'd encourage you to go back and, if you weren't really listening, to go back and listen to this again. Are you giving God your best, your all? I'm Pastor Mark. Love you guys. Be safe, be well, be blessed, be strong. Go do something for Jesus. I'll see you tomorrow.